Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a 2007, it's a Subaru Legacy with a 2.5 liter engine. I was not going to film this because I just needed to get through the job because it was just a basic tune-up, which is actually fairly simple. I decided to actually film it because when I pulled out one of the spark plugs out of the spark plug tube, the spark plug tube itself was full of oil. The problem with being full of oil is that this in here fills up with oil. When it fills up with oil, it shorts out the spark plugs and creates a misfire. And that's exactly what happened in this. As soon as I pulled this out, it was covered in oil. So I'm going to show you how to not to do the tune-up because you know how to do that. It's fairly easy on this particular vehicle. But I am going to show you how to remove and replace the valve cover gasket, and especially the seal that goes around the spark plug tube itself. Very important. They just changed that also. But the valve cover does come with new ones anyway. So, all right, let me bring you in there. I'm going to show you what to do step by step. I did the left side already. I should say I did the right side already. I'm going to do the left side now, left side being driver's side. I'm going to do that right now, and I'm going to bring you along, and I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. Let me show you what we're going to need and how we're going to proceed with this. All right, let's make a phone call to the parts store. Let's get our stuff at that Subaru, and we're going to continue. Hey Joe, how you doing? It's Jim, J&S. Hey Joey, 2007 Subaru Legacy with a 2.5. Can I get a price and availability on the valve cover gaskets, the plugs, the wires, and the air filter, please? Okay. No turbo, just 2.5. Single. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Do you have everything in stock? But you can pick it up pretty quick, though. All right. When do you think I'll actually have it here in the shop? Well, the main thing is I want the valve cover gaskets first. Okay. All right. You can do it as quick as you can. I'd appreciate it. All right. Beautiful. All right. Thank you. Bye. Okay. They have the tune-up stuff in stock. They do not have the valve cover gaskets, so they're going to pick up the cover gaskets, and they're going to send them to us. And pretty much we're on hold now until we get the parts because it's just going to be easier having everything out of the way. So there's no sense of putting the plugs or anything like that back in there now. So let's get those covers apart, and we're gonna stay on this until we get it done, and we'll run these numbers past him and see what he says. No answer. Voicemail, we're going to leave a message. Michael, how you doing? It's Jim. Hey, just want to give you the heads up on that on the Subaru, let you know what everything is going to run into. So when you have a chance, give me a call back, right? 201-339-1003. Okay. All right, I'll wait till I hear from you. Thank you, Mike. All right. I know he's going to say to go ahead and do it, so I'm not going to wait for a phone call back. I'm going to get out there and get started on it. So, all right, let's get working. Okay. What we're going to do here is, this is the tools that we're going to need to actually do the job. We're basically going to need a set of sockets. Mainly we're going to need 10mm and probably a 12mm, a ratchet, a long extension, a couple of screwdrivers, a tool to take out the spark plugs, and just a couple of 10mm wrenches. All right. These are the new ones, obviously. These are the spark plug tube seals that I'm telling you about. What happens is the valve cover sits up against this here, and it keeps oil from going down into the spark plug tube. This is the problem with this car. It also is leaking oil underneath the vehicle too, so you know, it's twofold. We're going to change the valve cover gasket itself. We're going to change the seals for the dipstick, for the spark plug tube, and of course we're going to continue with our tune-up. I will point this out before you get started. Make sure you go underneath the vehicle and put a piece of cardboard or plastic or something underneath there, because as soon as you take that valve cover, off, all that oil that's laying up inside this cover here is going to drip down all over the engine and down onto the floor. So, all right, let's get set up and we're going to get started here. And first thing I'm going to do is we're going to remove the battery so we can take this out of here so we have a little more room to work. We also going to relocate this box out of the way here so we can slide everything out and out of the way. All right, so all right, let me get some tools and let's get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to disconnect our battery. And the way we're going to do that is, as you can see, there's a lot of corrosion on here. I will clean this up later on, but for now we're just going to let it go, and we'll come back to that. We are going to clean this up, but for now we're just going to spray it so we can disconnect it. Remember, you always want to disconnect your negative cable first, and positive comes off later on. I can say this now, I'm surprised. I thought sure this was going to really be a problem getting this off of here, but it wasn't. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of oxidation on here, or corrosion I should say. I'll put a link to a video that I have about how to clean this off of here, but for now we're just going to put this off to the side. I'd like to use a socket, but it was a little bit tight getting in there. So we're just going to take this, put this back on now, and we'll take this off. Use our puller to get the battery terminal end off. And we'll take our battery out of here. Gives us a little bit more room in here to work. Not much, but a little bit. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off the we're going to pull off the spark plug cables. You're going to open up these, we're going to open up the holder that holds these cables in place so we can pull these out. And that should be good for now. I'll take these out. See what I mean about the oil? It's all over inside here. Now we are going to change these cables. It really doesn't matter, but I don't want to make a mess on the customer's car underneath the hood here if we can get away with it. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring you in there, maybe you can see a little bit better here. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to attempt to leave this in here. Maybe we don't have to take it out. We'll see how it goes. We're going to take off this hose right here that goes up to the air breather. You just squeeze the clamp, pull it together. Now be careful, because when these hoses get older, they get brittle. So don't go crazy pulling it. Just keep constant pressure, and it'll pull right off without breaking it, hopefully. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this cover off right here. This cover covers up the injectors. So we're going to take this out so we have enough room to get that valve cover up and out of there. These are 12 millimeter screws. So we'll just take these out and we'll relocate that cover off to the side. This just covers up the injectors. And we'll put this off to the side for now. And I'm going to attempt to leave the oil fill on there. We'll see how it goes though. Alright, then we're going to take out all of the 10 millimeter bolts that hold the cover in place. Now that bolt is a pain in the rear end. Okay. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get in here with a screwdriver, and you just pry very little on the cover, and it should pop right off. Alright, be careful, because it is going to leak oil. Well, I thought I was leaving that tube in, I'm not. It's 10 millimeter, we just unscrew the tube, and we'll take it out. Just put this off to the side for now. And now we can continue trying to get that cover out of there. I'm going to change my gloves and we'll come right back. Okay, before I go any further with this too, I just want to mention to you, I did unbolt the fuel rail so I could get this cover out of here. This cover is a real pain in the rear end to get out of here. I did have to unbolt the fuel rail and pull it up and out of the way. All right, so now we're going to take this valve cover out of here. And believe me, I know that this cover is a pain to get out of here. See what I mean about being a real pain in the ass to get out? Well, we'll see how we're going to get it back in now. All right, let me bring you in now, show you what the problem was. These seals right here leak. So we're just going to replace these seals, and we are, of course, going to change this gasket right here too. Okay. All right, so that's that. All right, we're going to take this over to the sink now. We're going to wash it up in the tank, and then we'll come back and we're going to hopefully get this thing back together. I will say this: there's going to be some editing involved with this tape because lots of four-letter words were used here. So, all right, let me clean it up, and we'll come back. Okay, now that we have everything all cleaned up, we put our new gasket inside here. We put our new seals on the end of the dipstick, on the end of the spark plug tubes. We did change the plugs, just so you know. And now we're going to put this cover back inside there. It is a pain in the rear end, but be careful you don't damage this gasket right here when you're putting it back in. This valve cover is a real pain in the rear end. I just want to make sure you didn't damage the gasket now. Alright, now before I go any further, I'm going to put that bolt in that back corner because it's tight in that corner when the cover's in place. So we're just going to put the bolt in the cover for now. I'm not going to screw it in, we're just putting it in place for now. And we're going to make sure our two grommets are back on top right there where they always were. Put the cover back in, and then we're going to catch a couple of the bolts up top right here. We're just going to screw them in by hand for now. I gotta take a break. Okay, we're just going to catch these bolts loosely. Okay, now that we have them all caught, with the last one, make sure everything is nice and tight again. Make sure this back one is tight. Okay. All right. Valve covers. Sorry about that. Some days I actually hate that telephone. Today's one of them days. All right. Now that we got the valve cover back on, we're going to put the fuel injection rail back down where it belongs. Remember I told you before I took that rail off, so we're going to push that back down where it belongs. Put the two bolts back in the rail that we took out. Remember, everything you do by hand until you get it caught. Once you got it caught by hand, then you obviously can use your ratchet to tighten it in. But everything is by hand initially. Okay, fuel rail's reconnected now. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to plug our injectors back in and listen for that snap. Okay, we're going to reconnect all of these sensors that we previously disconnected, except for this one right here, because we need to put that bolt back on for the fuel injection rail. And this one we'll put on later on. Okay, we're going to reconnect our hose right here that was previously taken off. Just push it down over the top like that. Put your clamp back down in place where it came off. And we're gonna reinstall our tube. Remember, they were the small 10 millimeters. Remember, everything is caught by hand before you tighten it up with the ratchet. And we'll tighten up that tube. It's only 10 millimeters, so be careful. Don't over tighten it and break it. Just snug. Alright. Next thing we're going to do is put our injector cover back over the top. And then we catch all of the bolts. Before we tighten any one up, we make sure they're all in there first. One second, be right there. Screw it as far as you can by hand all the way in. And last but not least, we're going to plug in that last sensor here. And that's it. All right, let me just bring you in there and I'm going to go through it with you. Okay. Now that we have everything back in there, okay, we have all of our plugs plugged back in here. We have our oil fill tube on. We have our cover back over the injectors. The injector is tightened up below it. The vent hose is on the valve cover. We're going to continue with our tune-up now, but we're going to stop here. And that's it. All right, valve cover, all the bolts are now tight. And that's it, you're good to go. Okay, so now after you have the valve cover tight, you have the vent here is actually back on, your clamp is in place, your injector cover is back on, your injectors are plugged in and tightened up, your oil dipstick tube is reconnected, all of your bolts are tight that hold the injector cover on there, all your sensors are plugged back in, and that's it. We're just going to finish the tune-up now, and then we'll put the battery back in and we're going to clean that battery up and wrap this job up. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Any questions or comments, you send me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.